Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's Spotlight series, where we are joined by Professor Azad Madni, and we will be talking about the Systems Architecting and Engineering graduate programs. My name is Marilyn Lau, and I am the Senior Manager of Corporate and Graduate Recruitment. So thank you so much to Professor Madni for joining us today. Some quick facts. I will be following up in a couple of business days, so you guys will receive a copy of today's presentation deck. For those of you who are joining us live, any questions that you have, please go ahead and pop them in the chat or the Q&A panel, and we will be able to answer those questions. And there is going to be a Q&A session at the end as well if your questions are for Professor Madni, or if they're admissions and application questions, then I can go ahead and answer those questions for you. And for those of you who are watching this as a recording at a later time, please note that the information that we are covering is as of November 6th, 2025. And we always encourage you to always head over to our website for the most updated information about our academic curriculum, as well as our admissions process. Today's agenda, I will be giving everyone a quick introduction about University of Southern California for those of you who are not familiar with our academic institution. And then I'll talk about Viterbi School of Engineering. But then today's focus is highlighting our systems architecting and engineering graduate programs. So Professor Madni will take you guys through, the master's programs as well as the graduate certificate program for systems architecting engineering, and a little bit more about the systems and architecting engineering programs and application criteria. And then I'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about our online delivery method, Dana Viterbi, and kind of how it works for those of you who may be working professionals, the flexibility it offers. And then we'll go ahead and kind of wrap it up with tuition and funding, and then we have the Q&A session afterwards. Just some quick photos of our beautiful campus for those of you who live in the LA area. If you know of USC or have been to our campus before, we do have lots of beautiful buildings and architectures, and we are located in Los Angeles, so maybe around a 20-30 minute, around like a 20-minute drive from downtown LA. A little bit of history about the University of Southern California. So for those of you who don't know, we are the oldest private university in the Western United States, founded back in 1880, and we do have over 23 academic schools and divisions within USC as a whole. And we have over 47,000 students, over 450,000 alumni worldwide, over 4,700 full-time faculty, and a very diverse student population. So our students do come from all different walks of life. So a little bit about Viterbi School at a glance. So we do have over 6,600 graduate students, over 65 master's programs, but 40 of them are offered online through Dana Viterbi. 13 doctoral programs, which are only offered on campus, and then 38 research centers, over 210 full-time tenure track faculty. We were established in 1905, our School of Engineering, and we do have over 104,000 Viterbi alumni worldwide. So these are the 8 academic departments. So we have the Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering, the Astronautical Engineering Department, which is where the systems architecting and engineering programs are housed under, the Biomedical Engineering, Chemical Engineering and Material Science, Civil and Environmental Engineering, the Computer Science and Data Science Department, the Computer Science, which houses the data science programs, the Electrical and Computer Engineering, as well as the Industrial Systems Engineering Department. Okay, so without further ado, you guys all joined this webinar to hear more from Professor Azad Madni. And so Azad, Professor Madni is the Executive Director of the SAE program, and he is a member of the National Academy of Engineering. He is also the prize recipient of the 2023 NAE Gordon Prize, and also the 2023 IEEE Simon Ramo Medal, 2021 IEEE AESS Judith A. Resnick Space Award, 2020 IEEE SMC Norbert Wiener Award, 2020 NDIA Ferguson Award, 2019 IEEE AESS Pioneer Award, 2019 AIAA, as well as ASWE Leland Atwood Award, 2011 Incosi Pioneer Award, and AIAA Honorary Fellow and ASME Honorary Member. He is also a fellow of the AAS, ACM, IEEE, INCOSI, IISE, as well as AIMBE, WAS, SME, AAIA, AIIA, Golden Core, SDPS, and IETE. And he also developed within the curriculum the courses for SAE 549, 547, 548, and SAE 546. So thank you so much for joining us, Professor Mani, and a very, very warm welcome.
Thank you, Marlon. So welcome to everybody, to our people who have signed on and listening, and those who will be listening to this after hours. I want to just mention to you that much of the courses are based on our textbooks that we have written ourselves. So SA 549 uses my book on trade-off decision and system design. 549 and 447 uses transdisciplinary system engineering. 546 uses disciplinary convergence and system engineering, and we've got several more books. I have a book on deep learning networks and AI that is already in the Amazon top 100 globally in pattern recognition, artificial intelligence, and statistics. So we have not only the instructors who are very knowledgeable in the field, but most of the books that are being used are written by them. So let's go on to the next chart. So what makes this program unique for you folks who are hearing about it for the first time? This is the top ranked, longest running system engineering program in the country. And both Eberhard Rechten, who was the founder of the program, and I, the current executive director, we were both system architecting pioneers. And our books are required text, not just at USC, but elsewhere in the various universities in the country. As Marlon told you, I have several awards and several fellowships. And the important thing is that the SAE program is active in many professional societies and conferences. So our students attend INCOSI conferences, IEEE conferences, AIAA, and CSER conference is the one which we co-founded for system engineering research. I'm also the series editor of Conference on System Engineering Research, and also the co-founder and chair of the IEEE System and Cybernetics Technical Committee on Model-Based Systems Engineering. What's unique about our program is that we exploit findings from our research in creating new course material. And during the course of our teaching, if we uncover any new areas where questions need to be answered, then we essentially use that to pursue research in. So we have a bi-directional communication between our research and our teaching. I have an award-winning approach for which I won the Gordon Prize. It's called TRACEE, TRASEE, which stands for Transdisciplinary Systems Engineering Education Paradigm. Our faculty is top-notch. They're from MIT and UC Berkeley, UCLA, USC, Princeton. So we have got all top faculty members. We were named the top information system master's program in 2017 by Masters in Data Science. And the link below will give you more specifics about the particular program. Let's go on to the next chart. A few interesting factoids is that we are pretty active in the USC student division of the INCOSI Los Angeles chapter. And this is a kind of a good thing to join because you have opportunities to network and mix with other students who are system engineering from across other universities and people who come in from industry to attend and give talks to our program, as well as faculty members. So this is a good way to mix and mingle with the faculty and with other students in the program. We are quite active in the INCOSI LA chapter, and we Most of the time, we have our meetings in El Segundo at the Aerospace Corporation or some restaurant in the vicinity of that. It's an opportunity for you to network with fellow engineers who in space, aerospace, medical devices, energy sectors. And there's one upcoming shortly. We're the co-founder of the current, we just finished the 2025 Conference on System Engineering Research, where you have an opportunity to present your technical research papers and network with system engineers, not just from the US, but from all across the world. And we also support the INCOSI LA mini conference and regional mini conference, which again provides the students an opportunity to network with industry professionals, other students, and faculty from the Los Angeles region. Go on to the next. So here you see the master's program. There 27 units are required to graduate. And here you see the courses and their titles that you see here. And you can have an SAE elective course, which is an additional advisor approved course, 3 units in an area of your special interest or your expertise. And then you have a technical specialization area where you can take 2 courses, a minimum of 6 units total, which is like 2 courses. And again, you do that in consultation with the academic advisor, which happens to be me in this case, and or my representative, which is the student advisor. Go on to the next. We also have grad certificates in systems architecting and engineering. And once again, you see a whole list of courses, which are systems architecting engineering courses. And you choose any 5 of the following courses to get your certificate. Let's go on. The application criteria for the master's program is the following. We do not have a undergraduate degree in MS, but people coming into the master's program are required to have an undergrad degree in science or engineering or math or any of the hard science from a regionally accredited university. That's important. Regionally accredited, because if it's not accredited, then you will not be admitted. You will not be admitted. Digital official transcripts are things that are required with a cumulative GPA of at least 3.0 on a 4-point scale. That's recommended. We do require people to have, some industry experience. It's not a requirement, but it's desirable because system engineering is very much a field of practice. And if you've had some industry experience, that would help you with the courses. But it is not a requirement. It's just desirable. When it comes to GRE, it's not really required for admission to the spring or fall of 2026. And applicants applying to future terms will need to clarify the GRE requirement for that term. You will need to submit your resume, your CV, a personal statement that tells you what of who you are, what you are looking for, what things you've accomplished, what are your aspirations, etc. And then we need 3 letters of recommendation. And for international applicants only, we need TOEFL or IELTS exam. Let's go on to the next. Go on to the next. Here's an example of some research. So sometimes, we have students who want to pursue some research and take a directed research course and want to do a master's thesis as opposed to pursuing just a straight set of courses. So here what you're seeing is the research that we do in the area of digital twin technology, which is very, very hot subject, as you know. Here you're seeing the creation of a digital twin of an unmanned aerial vehicle like a quadcopter. So we have a lab called Distributed Autonomy and Intelligence System Lab where students can model and create digital twins and explore them in simulation and all kinds of things of that nature. And our research in this area has been supported by the Department of Defense, as well as aerospace and automotive companies like Boeing and General Motors and things of that nature. So here what you're seeing is just an example of how the digital twin works in relationship to its physical counterpart. You see here the capability of the integrated hardware software suite that supports the modeling, analysis, and experimentation in a model-based system engineering environment. And the application focus that we have in this research is planning and decision making in unmanned aerial vehicle teams, autonomous vehicles, and software-defined vehicles. As I mentioned, we have several research sponsors. Let's go on to the next. Here's another area of research that we do is the whole notion of uh, system architecting and integration. This has not been an area that has been very well addressed and attended to. And so when I took over 17 years ago, I had several people from industry come to me and say, would you consider doing a system integration course or something like that? So I said, sure. And I started looking around and there was no material. It was all fragmented all over the place. So I spent an entire summer putting together a course in system integration and system of system integration. And then, of course, we do quite a bit of research in that area as well. So the research that we do is in coming up with using structured and formal methods uh, to do system architecting. We base that on a variety of modeling constructs such as dependency structure matrix. We have published our research in system integration in IEEE System Journal in 2021. In our approach, we use things like evolutionary algorithms to improve modularity and cohesiveness of architectures. And just for your information, evolutionary algorithms are a subset of AI algorithms that are inspired by biological evolution. The methods that we use enable quantification of architectural dependencies using design structure matrix. The methods employ things like fitness function, mechanism for population generation, mutation, and crossover. So you get a lot of that kind of flavor in our integration course. So we use these biologically inspired concepts and bring them into integration to essentially facilitate the process. And of course, this kind of technology helps you communicate the results to a broader audience across various disciplinary boundaries. So I just give you a couple of examples of research that we do. There are many, many other research areas and areas of machine learning, reinforcement learning, AI, and things like that that I'm not going to go into. But it gives you a flavor that if somebody wanted to pursue a master's thesis, they could, because we have ample topics in that space. Let's go on to the next. So, if in terms of career opportunities, when you get out of this program, you will have some very, very important skills. And these skills will make you invaluable in landing jobs in prime companies, whether they be aerospace, automotive, biotechnology companies, medical devices companies, healthcare operations, government. These things help. So the topics, the skills that you will have under your belt after going through this program are systems architecting, systems thinking, system integration and system of system integration, prototyping of concepts of operation, model-based system engineering, simulation-based modeling and analysis, and then a very important topic, human system integration. We talk about hardware software integration, but human system integration is just as important as hardware software integration. You will learn a lot about cyber physical human systems, uh, the whole notion of resilience engineering and how we can use formal methods to essentially create resilient systems. And then you will learn about augmented intelligence and machine learning and how that's the wave of the future, not just in systems architecting and engineering, but in terms of businesses nationwide. The whole notion of large language models and chat GPT that you see around here, those are examples of augmented intelligence in the sense that you can offload a lot of your work in terms of constructing reports and writing proposals and things like that to these large language models and their chatbots, but they will usually come back and occasionally they'll come back with hallucinations. There'll be some errors. And that's why you need the human in the loop to recognize those errors and fix that. But if you have the human working with the AI in this particular fashion, you can dramatically shrink the cycle time and at the same time have the human compensate and correct the mistakes that the AI makes. So you get the best of both worlds. And the last thing that I was talking about is the whole notion of digital twinning, which is to create a virtual replica in software of a physical system that is in bidirectional communication with the physical system and is constantly updated by whatever experience the physical system has in the real world. So at any point in time, the virtual model is an exact replica of what the physical system is doing over there. When you have this kind of capability, you can analyze the virtual model and use that to make predictions about what the physical system might experience and use that knowledge then to guide and control the physical system. So this is a very important thing. This concept has been around since the 1950s when the NASA worked with the Apollo aircraft, but we are in about 2002. The term, the thing got a kind of a real boost in the manufacturing industry, and in 2010, the term digital twin was coined by John Vickers at NASA, and now, of course, it's a household term in engineering all over the country. Let's go on to the next. So the career opportunities that our students have when they graduate from here, of course, aerospace and automotive are their prime targets. So Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, SpaceX, General Motors, Tesla, and then also national labs and federally funded R&D centers like Aerospace Corporation, Jet Propulsion Lab, MITRE, RAND Corporation. Also medical devices and healthcare companies like Medtronic, Kaiser Permanente, Amgen, and also web companies, Google, Amazon, Facebook, etc. And also many of our employees, our students become employees in very key positions in system engineering at places like the LA Department of Water and Power and the Port of Los Angeles. Let's go on to the next. Okay, so now I think I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Professor Mani.
All
Thank
right,
you so
thanks.
much for the
Okay.
insightful information about our graduate programs for systems architecting and engineering. So I'll go ahead and take you guys through now the different enrollment options and kind of like how to apply. So in terms of master's requirements, Professor Mani talked about it specifically for systems, architecting and engineering, so I won't spend too much time on that slide. In terms of application deadlines, so the application deadline for spring 2026 was on October 1st, but as you can see, there is an asterisk, which actually means that we are still accepting applications for online Dana Viterbi students who are interested in applying to spring 2026, which begins on January 12th, as long as you do not require a student visa sponsorship. So if you are interested in applying to spring 2026 as a DEN student, please email me at den@viterbi.usc.edu, the email address that you see on this slide. And we'll be able to work with you on a application deadline that would work for you. However, if you are interested in fall 2026, which begins in August of next year, the application deadline is on January 15th, 2026. And again, if you are applying as an online Dana Viterbi student, a application extension can be available as long as you do not require a student visa sponsorship, such as an F1 or I-20. So through for our graduate programs, we do have two delivery methods. So one is on campus. So this is when you are studying full time and you are at USC's campus. Most students who are on campus students, they tend to not be working because they are studying full time, taking 3 classes or 4 classes per semester. So usually on average, they can complete their degree between 1.5 to 2 years. And then our second delivery method, which is the online delivery, which is what we call Dana Viterbi. Typically, our DEN students are part-time students. So they study part-time because they're working full-time. So they are working professionals. However, we do see that there are some full-time Dana Viterbi students who may be not located in the LA area, but they still want to get their degree from USC Viterbi from the Systems Architecting Engineering program, for example. And so they tend to be taking maybe 1 to 2 classes per semester, especially if they are working full-time. And on average, they can complete the degree in maybe 2.5 to 3 years. Our students do have up to 5 years to complete their degree. So how does our online delivery method Dana Viterbi work? So for those of you who have not joined a previous DEN webinar, USC Viterbi has been doing distance education learning since 1972. As of today, it is our School of Engineering's in-house proprietary web-based delivery system that enables our students from all over the world to access classes in 2 ways. So you can watch it live as it's happening by streaming in, or you can watch it on demand afterwards on your own time. All Dana Viterbi students do also have a physical seat in every class that you're enrolled in. So if you live in the LA area and you're like, I want to sit in a class, I want to meet Professor Mani in person, listen to his lectures, you are more than welcome to do so as a DEN student, but it's not a requirement to attend lectures in person. DEN students still view the same lectures as on-campus student, and the content is fresh every semester. You will submit homework electronically, and you will still have the opportunity to participate in interactive discussions with your professors as well as with your classmates. You will take exams at a proctor testing center located either near your home or your work. However, if you are in the LA Orange or Ventura counties, you would be taking your exams at USC's campus. And usually proctored tests are for more of the traditional kind of pen and paper. But usually, it is up to the faculty and the professor's discretion whether or not proctor testing centers, in-person proctoring would be required. So you might be asking, okay, what is the main difference between being an online student versus a on-campus student? There isn't much difference. As you can see, the program admission requirement is the same. So you still need to submit the graduate application and the required materials that Professor Mani talked about when it comes to the systems architecting and engineering graduate programs. Weekly course lectures for online data entry student will be online, whereas on-campus students will be at USC's campus. Having access to the course archives. So dynamic trivia students do have access to this. On-campus students will only have access to this if there is a dynamic trivia student that is enrolled in their class. So if there is one DEN student in that class, then the on-campus students will have access to the recordings. Assignments, as you can see, the course deadline dates are the same. It is just the way of submission is different. Exams will be at a proctor location. Courses per semester is where it varies a little bit, as I mentioned, because majority of our DEN student population, they are working professionals. So they take 1 to 2 classes maximum per semester. Degree completion requirements is the same. So for the Master's in Systems Architecting and Engineering program, it is 27 units. And then, you do need to maintain as well a 3.0 GPA in terms of academic standing to complete your degree. So ultimately, when you do get your diploma, there is no distinction on there that you are an online student or a on-campus student. It is the same degree earned. Some additional information when it comes to our online delivery method, we do have a second enrollment option, which is called limited status. And we do have, a lot of individuals who enroll in systems architecting classes as a limited status student before they submit their application for a formal master's degree. So what limited status enrollment is essentially a way for individuals who have a strong academic background to begin taking classes in SAE, for example, before submitting the application for formal admission. However, you do need to have an undergraduate degree in a engineering, math, or hard science from a regionally accredited institution, and you are required to have a minimum 3.0 GPA on your 4.0 scale. You can only take a maximum of 12 units as a limited status student. And if you are admitted into a formal degree afterwards, those classes that you took as limited status student may be transferable over. But it is also important to note that being a limited status student also does not guarantee you formal admissions, and you do still need to submit an application. If you are interested in learning more about limited status, you can head over to our website at the link embedded on this page, and you can get started as early as spring 2026, which begins on January 12th. And for those of you who may be reimbursed by your employer, we do have the employer reimbursement deferment program. And so if you are supported by your company, you can defer your payment of up to 90% until after the semester is over. There are some eligibility requirements that you do need to meet. The first is that your employer does have to reimburse you for tuition, and your student account has to be updated. It can't have any outstanding balance or charges. And there are some administrative work that you would need to handle as well to settle before the settlement deadline of each term. And it will be completing and submitting the deferment application and paying 10% of tuition and 100% of all fees and a $100 application fee. So this slide here is just to show you what our current per unit rate is when it comes to the Viterbi Graduate Engineering and Computer Science tuition rates. So our fees are by per unit. So it kind of gives you an idea of how much a 3-unit course is and a 4-unit course. So this is for this current academic year. It is the same for both online and on-campus student, and it is also subject to change without notice. So we always encourage when you are ready to submit your application or start your application process to head over to our website at the link indicated on this page to see what is the most updated tuition fees for that specific academic year that you are intending to apply to. So we do have a scholarship for our online dinner Viterbi student to kind of help with the tuition. And so this is a merit-based scholarship. It is awarded to outstanding students who are pursuing a master's program fully online through DEN and Viterbi. So it is not a full scholarship, it is partial. If you are awarded, you can receive between 1 to 4 units of tuition. You must be pursuing a master's program fully online through DEN and Viterbi, and also receive partial or no tuition reimbursement funds from your employer. The funding that you are awarded will be used within the academic year. You can only be awarded once per academic year, but you can reapply again for a future scholarship consideration. To be eligible, you must either be a newly admitted student or have an admissions application on file, and also have a minimum cumulative GPA of at least a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. So if you are interested in applying to spring 2026 for formal admissions, the application deadline for this DEN of Viterbi scholarship is Friday, November 14th. If you are interested in fall 2026, the deadline date will be posted on the website after the spring date has passed. And you can find more information as well as the application form itself for the scholarship on our DEN of Viterbi scholarship page on our website. And for those of you who are joining who may be active duty military or a veteran, we do have some funding and scholarships as well. For those of you who are active duty military, we have the USC Viterbi Active Duty Military Scholarship. So this is a partial scholarship ranging from $5,000 to $20,000 of tuition for US active duty military of all military branches. And you can be pursuing either a master's or a graduate certificate program, and it could be either online or on USC's campus. And again, you would receive partial or no tuition reimbursement funds from your military or your employer. The spring 2026 deadline date is also Friday, November 14th. In addition, there is also yellow ribbon funding, and USC Viterbi does offer an unlimited number of yellow ribbon awards to eligible veteran candidates who are entitled to the 100% post 9/11 benefit rate. So the VA will also match the amount provided by USC. And for those of you who are veterans, we do have the USC Show Family Scholarship for Veterans, and it is for incoming and continuing graduate students. And you must be admitted and enrolled immediately in courses on a full-time basis. More information can be found on our military page on our website at the link below. So how to get started? So for those of you who are interested, in pursuing your degree on campus, you can visit those links over there, the first 2 links. And for those of you who are interested in being an online DEN of Viterbi student, you can go ahead and head over to our graduate application page to learn more about how to get your application started. And if you're interested in getting started as a limited status student, you would need to complete the DEN of Viterbi limited status request form for spring 2026, and you can find that on the link embedded at the bottom of the slide. Okay, so I will go ahead and allow some time for anyone who might have any questions, whether it's for Professor Madni or any application questions that I can go ahead and answer that. So I'll go ahead and just allow a couple more minutes for people who want to type in the questions. Okay, so don't see any questions come through yet, but Professor Mani, I do have a question for you, which we do get quite often, and more so for DEN students when it comes to research. Are there any opportunities for DEN of Viterbi students to participate in any research, given that they are, DEN and online?
Well, the thing is that with research, uh, we have the opportunity for them to do what's called directed research. They can take one directed research course, uh, as part of with my approval, as part of the master's program, and the research can be constructed in a way that doesn't require a whole lot of heavy interaction. More like creating a term paper on some subject or something of that nature. But it is not. It's a very infrequently used option. Most of the time, people will just go through the 27 units and be done. Occasionally, somebody will say, I'd like to do a master's uh, research topic. And so, in that case, we would accommodate that person. Those people typically go on to do a PhD degree.
Mm,
But the fact that somebody's not co-located, of course, that makes it difficult to do hands-on research. But we can offer them some research topics that do not require their physical presence to the degree that maybe once or twice in the semester, and then get the work done. That's possible, but it has to be done with prior approval and topic selection with the proper instructors.
okay, perfect. Thank you so much. That is really helpful information. So we do have a question for you, Professor Mani.
Sure.
Could you speak on the difference between the Industrial and Systems Engineering graduate program and the SAE graduate program?
Okay. So the industrial and system engineering program is much more focused on manufacturing, inventory control, traditional industrial engineering topics where the system is well defined and the techniques that are used are things like simplex methods, linear programming, things of that nature. The SAE program is specifically focused on complex systems that you find typically in the aerospace, automotive, medical devices, telecommunications, etc., where you don't have a well defined representation of the system. And the techniques we use here are everything from system modeling using deterministic and probabilistic modeling approaches, and AI and machine learning techniques using reinforcement learning, supervised learning, semi supervised learning, and unsupervised learning. Uh, the whole focus of the SAE program is so that people that get out of here can engage in uh, doing their work and be valuable from day one in industry, but at the same time have the ability to think about future problems and be able to address them meaningfully. And the reason we are able to do that is we spend an awful lot of time on teaching them systems thinking and problem framing and formulation. In other words, we just don't talk about what are the techniques that you can use to solve a problem, but what is the right problem to solve? How do you know that you're formulating the right problem in the right way so that when you do come up with a solution, you have solved the real world problem and not some fictitious, artificial, scaled down or dumbed down version of the problem? So the the three dimensions, the three pillars of systems architecting engineering program are systems thinking, critical thinking, and transdisciplinary thinking. That means thinking about not just what can be solved from engineering techniques alone, but what engineering techniques can borrow from other disciplines like cognitive psychology, like social sciences, like biology, that would help us with creating an elegant architecture of complex systems. So we reach out to other disciplines. This is why the book that I've written, which is a required text, is called Transdisciplinary Systems Engineering, which really means reaching beyond traditional disciplines to find connections among them, and then using those connections to inform a better framing and formulation of a complex socio-technical systems problem, such as pandemic management, energy transition, etc.
Thank you, Professor, for that thorough differentiation of the two programs. So let's see. Okay, so I don't see any additional questions that have come through. So before we wrap up, Professor Mani, is there any kind of last words that you would like to leave everyone with before we
Yeah,
wrap up
I would
today's
say this.
session?
Yeah, I would say this to the future students. I really think that systems engineering is the topic of the future for three reasons. One, because we are using more and more computational methods from computer science and AI that we have not used in the past. Two, we are using the whole concept of digital twinning, uh, in addition to virtual prototyping and things of that nature, that allow us to really do a better job of verification and validation of complex systems. And number three, we address very complex trade offs that are not taught in any other courses. For example, resilience engineering. If I want to make something resilient in dimension X, what do I lose in dimension Y and Z? And what should I do about it? So these kinds of problems are real world problems. And this program is specifically geared to that. We also want to mention to you that uh, all our courses are backward compliant with the INCOSE as standards and courses and things of that nature. So there is really complete compatibility, but we go well beyond what the INCOSE requirements are for graduate programs.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Professor
Okay.
Azad Madni, for taking your time and just walking us through the systems architecting and engineering programs today. Um, and so, yeah, we just want to say thank you. And I hope everyone who is joining us live and also watching this as a recording afterwards has really found this information really informative. If you guys have any questions after today's session, you can always contact us at the emails, whether you're on campus or online, indicated on the slide. As mentioned, I will be following up in a couple of business days, so you guys will have a copy of today's presentation then. Okay, one more question. Okay, to clarify that last
Yeah.
point, does the program have INCONSE equivalent designation?
Well, we have INCOSE equivalent in all our courses. We have not really sought it necessary to actually get a formal INCOSE equivalent designation. If it looks like that might be necessary or something that would be useful, we're more than happy to do that.
Perfect. Thank you, Professor Mani.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Are there any additional last questions before we wrap up today's session? Okay. I don't see any. Okay, well, thank you again, Professor Mani, and everyone. Again, thank you for taking the time and joining today's spotlight session. Take care, stay safe, and as we say at USC, fight on, and
Yeah, and good luck to
have a
all the
happy early
students.
weekend.
All right. Good luck to the
All right,
prospective
thank
students.
you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.